Next up at UFC 266, we have Matt Semelsberger versus Martin Sano. This is a bizarre fight. I'll break it down in a second, but this is sort of a weird situation going on here. But Matt Semelsberger, 8-3 overall, 4-1 in his last 5, coming off of a loss. Martin Sano, 4-2 in his entire career, with a draw as well. His last 5 fights were a draw, a loss, and 2 wins. And it was 5 years ago. This is a favor to Nick Diaz type setup. So Matt Semelsberger, he marches forward. He's an aggressive striker, solid leg kicks, goes to the body well. The marching forward can get him in trouble at times. If you watch the breakdown of Matt Semelsberger versus Chaos Williams, that was something we were worried about, is him just marching forward into a big Chaos Williams strike. That marching forward, like I said, could be an issue. In this fight, I don't know if there's going to be many issues here, but Sanos doesn't possess the power that a Chaos Williams does. So Matt Semelsberger coming forward shouldn't be that big of an issue. Martin Sano, he's almost a 500 fighter, right? You got to factor in the draw. So he's had 7 fights.
He has only twice as many wins as losses.
Yeah. Well, and a draw. So he has 7 fights. A little more than half are actual wins. He hasn't fought in 5 years, coming off of a draw and 2 losses in a row. If he was already in the UFC, they would have cut him. But he's friends and trains with the Diaz crew. So honestly, getting him on this card, it's similar to when Artem would be on all the Conor cards. No offense to the greatest of all time.
Do not put his name in your mouth, sir. The GOAT we respected on this podcast.
In 2001, the last time that Martin fought, he's a busy guy on his feet. He's pretty good on the ground. But let's be honest, he's not a UFC caliber fighter. He's here as a favor. I'm picking and betting against that the entire way. Unfortunately, the odds makers are onto it too. These are pretty wide odds here. They know that. So I'm probably going to wait for a prop that makes some sense. But Matt Semelsberger is a pretty obvious pick here. Anything could happen, right? Martin Sano hasn't fought in 5 years. He might have just changed his whole life, and he's an absolute killer in that gym right now. I doubt it. Semelsberger's the pick. Semelsberger will probably be in my DraftKings lineup. But Martin is tough, so I don't think it'll be a 2-second stoppage, but who the hell knows, man. 5 years, hasn't won a fight in a very, very long time. Jakey Poo, what do you think?
Semelsberger's going to win, but the only thing that I'm going to take notice in this fight is you mentioned the long layoff by Sano, and he is with the Diaz camp. If he comes out and looks decently sharp, because he wasn't really that great to begin with, but if he comes out after the long layoff and looks decently sharp, that kind of tells me that Nick Diaz is going to be ready. If he's got this long layoff and Nick Diaz has a long layoff and they're both in the same camp and he's coming out looking sharp, you got to imagine that Nate's getting the right training and he's going to be looking sharp as well. So if Martin comes out and looks good with that betting line for Nick Diaz, I might throw some money at Nick Diaz, just assuming that he's going to come out and look sharp as well. So with that said, Matt's going to win this fight.
Yeah, there's a couple Diaz crew on this card. And honestly, it has to be Nick Diaz saying, I'll only fight if you do X. And good for him for taking care of his people. He's putting them in harm's way, but it is what it is. The odds are accurate. DraftKings pricing, that's also accurate. I will probably spend the $9,400 on Matt Semelsberger, probably. Monkey knife fight, that's an interesting one because, Martin Sano, he's going to be way outclassed here, but let's assume he's a tough guy, right? Like if I'm looking at his losses, a decision and a KO in round 1. So, 42 is just such a low line, which makes that hard. If I have to play this line, I'm going to go less. Matt Semelsberger is going to come charging forward, throw a bunch of crap. Martin Sano hasn't fought in 5 years. I imagine that doesn't go well for him. What do you think about those lines?
I completely agree.
Okay. Is that how this is going to?
Okay, I'll disagree. Listen, I think Martin Sano comes out and looks great. I think his chin holds up. I think this 100 strikes. I'll go more and more.
But another trash pick from Jacob. Unbelievable. Get it together, dude. People rely on us for solid advice.
You'll see. That's my most confident pick, too.
This should be I don't know. It should be fun. I like Matt Semelsberger. I'm glad that he's going to be put back on track. So we'll see what happens. I'll watch it. A prop bet's the only way to go. I'm not spending minus 400 on anybody unless it's Amanda Nunes.